Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing The Blacklist Season 1, Episode 11, The Good Samaritan Killer. Let me just say, guys, that I think this was the best episode of the season so far. I know I've said that about it, like, basically every single episode of the show, but this one really changed a lot in, the way I look at Red. Before, I thought, okay, Red's kind of this criminal, but he does sort of have a heart. He's doing stuff for a purpose. In this episode, though, we kind of saw him more as a serial killer. We saw him do some really crazy shit to people. I didn't know, if he was going to have any limits, and I really liked it in this episode. It was kind of Red doing his own thing, and then Lizzie, Liz doing the whole case. I really enjoyed seeing that. I definitely enjoyed that. The case, in my opinion, I actually found it interesting. I enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed Red's stuff the most, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but let's just start off with how it began. So, as usual, it starts off with our usual criminal thing. We see this woman at Chuck E. Cheese kind of place, and it's this woman who is driving herself at a party. This guy named James comes up to her, he chats with her. Shortly after this, he drugs her, he kidnaps her, and he has her strapped to some kind of operating table with a bunch of tools, medical equipment, and he talks about how he's going to puncture her lung, break her collarbone, and he leaves Karen dying by, that's the name of the woman, her name is Karen. Oh no, Karen, that makes me think of Smash. Sorry guys, it's been, in February it's gonna be, like a week since, a year since Smash came back. Oh no, I actually have a Smash calendar, in case you guys don't know. See? Yeah, I don't know if I told you guys that, but it's a random moment of missing Smash there, sorry. But Karen goes outside, collapses. When she comes to it, James has her, he drugged her, kidnapped her, he is strapped to some kind of operating table with a bunch of tools and medical equipment, and he talks about how he's going to, I already read this, sorry. James, the serial killer, knows a good Samaritan. The killer is played by Frank Whaley, who I thought did a really great job in this episode, and he did I saw him in the movie not Pulp Fiction, I sound like a weird person right now, not Pulp Fiction, it's Pulp Fiction. Sorry, I don't know where that accent came from, that was weird. It's Pulp Fiction. I remember seeing him in that movie, and he did a really nice job in this episode. So yeah, that was definitely really great to see that. I definitely enjoyed the killer. Then we see Tom and Liz, and this is a very big scene. There's this surveillance van that basically has them under watch, and it's non-stop surveillance, and, they're trying to figure out who the whole mole is. And again, Tom brings up the fact that he wants him and Liz to wants Liz to stay away from all this and kind of just be a normal couple, which still leads me to the fact that maybe Tom could be the mole. Maybe Tom could be the one that betrayed them. I think that's what the big reveal is going to be, is that Tom is going to be the mole, and that's the reason why he wants to stop with all this, because I said he was hiding something, and I'm thinking, just from that right there, I'm thinking he's the mole. I really am. I think he's definitely a strong contender for the mole. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of people do think he is the mole, and I agree that he definitely could very well be the mole, and I think if he was, it'd be a really great twist in my opinion. I really love it when shows do that sort of twist thing. So, so that's basically what happens, but then she gets this call, about finding out about the Good Samaritan. She's been investigating the Samaritan for years now. So at FBI headquarters, we see all the members of the Blacklist FBI team being questioned as the Bureau tries to figure out who the mole is, and Director Cooper explains that he wants to let Liz into the Samaritan case as a way of putting her back on the streets, hoping Red will reach out to her, and allowing the FBI to capture Red again. Because that's their plans, they want to capture him again. As far as Red is going, Red is pretty much out for blood right now. He is trying to find the people who set up the whole Ansel Garrick thing. Mainly the person that killed Loli, who, that was one of his bodyguard, and he is pissed off that these people did this to him, so he is trying to get all this information. So we see kind of like this montage. He tracks down this man who worked for the man with the apple, and there's this really great montage of him talking to everybody. one by one we see him talking to people, and each time he talks to people, they end up dead somehow. So, definitely he's out for blood at this point. So then we see Liz back at home. Her phone rings and it's Red. He knows she's looking into the Good Samaritan. He gives her a hint about the case, saying that maybe she should look into how the Samaritan tortures his victims to see if there is some sort of pattern here. And Liz figures out that the latest Samaritan victim was given the exact same injuries her child suffered, from perhaps indicating that the child was abused and the Samaritan was exacting some kind of revenge. So Cooper tells Agent Malik that she has been cleared and he wants her to help him figure out who the mole is. He wants her to look into some secret bank accounts to see if the FBI mole is getting money from them. Then we see Red again. He bursts out into this restaurant. I really thought this next scene was awesome. He just shooting out the restaurant, shooting out a bunch of bodyguards, bludgeon belonging to a man named Theodore. He goes up to this man, Theodore, and he basically tells him, gives him some very intense questioning, and he eventually tells him that the money was wired to his New York office, and Red just kills him in a fun way, and it's a really fun way because it looks like he's about to burn him, but he ends up shooting him, and Red is just the ultimate badass in this episode. I'm like, yes, Red. Seriously, don't mess with Red. He will mess you up. Seriously, this is just... by saying shit went down this episode is an understatement, because it was just crazy with Red. So, we then see Liz and Agent Resler, who is still recovering from his back leg wound. I was very surprised they did not kill him off, in the mid-season finale. I do think that they might kill him off in the finale. I have a feeling a big death is coming, and the only other character that I could think of that will be killed off is Resler, because he's, the fourth highest character besides Red, Liz, and Tom. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So, they're talking about, they go to question the Samaritan's victim's son. He tells that his mom, and we basically find out that his mom abused him. And this is when I think this storyline got really interesting. The Samaritan is actually a vigilante targeting abusers, and we see the vigilante tending to his mother, who is in a wheelchair. What I love is that this is connecting directly to Red. Red is also being a total vigilante right now. Killing anybody, getting information, then killing them. That is totally what Red is doing, and I really love the way these two are connecting. The Good Samaritan Killer was a perfect title for this because it not only focuses on the Samaritan, but also Red, who also is a total vigilante right now. And even though he wants to kill this guy, he's exactly like him, which I really loved seeing. I thought that was fantastic. And it kind of connected in a way that the Blacklist I don't think has connected before. And I think that's why this was just such a great episode. So, we find that the Samaritan works in a hospital ER, and that is how he is able to see the medical records on people. And then, we go back to Red. Now, he's approached this man named Henry in New York, and Red tells Henry that he knows Henry was the bank for the operation against Red, and he tells Henry to give him all the wire transfer info, and Red says he needs the info by tomorrow. So Agent Malik figures out that the bank transactions were all led back to FBI tech specialist Aram. Before she can pick him up, we find that Red has him, and Red tells Aram that he must hack into a bank account and transfer $5 million into one of Red's accounts. And Red puts a Colt 45 on the table and explains that he can take the gun apart and put it back together in 2 minutes. And he tells Aram that if Aram had not figured out how to transfer the money in those 2 minutes, Red will use the reassemble gun to kill Aram. And here we get a really intense scene. He's furiously typing on the computer, and Red is playing with the gun parts. And Aram beats the deadline, explains how he did the untraceable transaction. And Red says the untraceable transaction proves that Aram is not the mole, and the mole left behind an easy-to-follow money trail. And Red says he is going to find the mole and kill him. So back to the Samaritan case, he's in a domestic abuse support group containing the boyfriend of a woman that Samaritan held in the hospital. The Samaritan tells the group how his mother abused him. He says he has moved forward and is now close to his mother. Later, he talks to the boyfriend. And Red goes to visit the banker, Henry, at Henry's home. He knows Henry set up a dummy back transaction to set up Aram. And Red shoots Henry in the leg at the dinner table while Henry's wife screams. And he says Newton Phillips, and Red leaves Henry alone. So Samaritan is taking the abusive boyfriend to his operating room. The Samaritan wheels his mother in so that she can watch him torture the boyfriend. And all the serial killings appear to be part of an elaborate and ongoing revenge plan on his mother. So Liz eventually puts all the pieces together, and she realizes that he is actually going to kill his mother, but she stops him before he does that. And so she stops him and she shoots him, and now he's dead. So that was it for that. Then we get to the real big part of the episode, in my opinion. This was probably the best part. Aram turns himself in, gives Cooper evidence that clears Aram, and it says who is Newton Phillips, and has this evidence, and it says Newton Phillips, and he says, who the hell is Newton Phillips? We see Red dumping the ashes of Lily in the ocean. Now, this was the scene that had my jaw dropping. I had no idea where this came from or why he did this, what the reason was for him doing this, but I was so surprised that this happened. One of Red's henchmen is nearby. He calls out of the man who is named Newton. Newton tells Red that the bad guys threatened his family and forced him to help him get Red. And Red puts a plastic bag over his head and kills Newton Phillips. And I just thought, oh my God. You just killed him and I don't even know anything about him. Why'd you kill him? What was the reason for doing that? Especially because that was one of Red's henchmen. So Red is just on this killing spree now, killing people. And I'm wondering if this is going to continue in the season. I think this is going to continue. Even though, we got a perfect ending in my opinion, a really great ending. We see Director Diane Fowler talking to 3 senior government officials. She tells them that the threat to the FBI has been eliminated, and one of the men leans forward and begins berating her, and it is Alan Alda's character. He's a mysterious man who's behind Red's torture, and that's the one who tortured Red, basically. He's the one who set it all up. We still do not know who the mole is, which still makes me think that it could be Tom. And Liz is back home. She thinks Tom is back, but it's actually Red waiting for her. She wants to know if Red is back to work on the Blacklist. He tells her that he still knows someone on the inside was helping the plan to get him, but he's back to work on catching Blacklisters again, and that's how it ends. So here's my big question to you guys. Even though Red is catching these Blacklisters, do you think he is just as bad as them? In my opinion, I think this episode shows that yes, he is. None of those kills were justified, in my opinion. None of those had to happen. He did that specifically for revenge because just like the killer in this episode, he was a vigilante. Did you guys really like the way it connected? I really enjoyed that. Do you think Tom could be the mole? I think Tom is a very good possibility. As I said, the one thing I thought about this episode is all season long, all we've seen is Red working as a blacklister and everything and trying to get out the blacklisters and take them out. In this episode, however, we got to see him kind of defend for himself and turn into the evil Red that we really have not gotten to see. This is by far James Spader's best performance and by far the most intense episode of this show yet. There were so many intense scenes in this episode. Why did he kill Newton Phillips? What was the reason for him doing that? Why do you think he ultimately did that? I don't really know. That's definitely a big question in my opinion. And, again, who is the mole? Do you think Tom could be the mole? I think he's a very good possibility, but I'm not sure. I think he is because why else would he want Liz to kind of stop the filming and, kind of have a normal life? I think that's the reason why. That's it for my review, though. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, love this episode. Nothing wrong with it. A perfect episode in my opinion. I will see you guys in the next video, which will be my review for Pretty Little Liars. So see you then. Bye.